The story of how the United States built the world's strongest military begins not with tanks or missiles, but with an idea, the belief that freedom must be protected, no matter the cost. In the early days of the nation, America's military was small and untested. Farmers, blacksmiths, and ordinary citizens stood up to defend their land during the Revolutionary War. They fought not for empire or wealth, but for independence, and that spirit of determination became the heartbeat of the American armed forces. As the 19th century unfolded, the young nation learned that strength meant preparation. The U.S. Navy started building ironclad ships, while the Army trained professional soldiers. Every conflict, from the Civil War to the Spanish-American War, taught valuable lessons about leadership, technology, and unity. By the dawn of the 20th century, the U.S. had transformed from a quiet republic into a rising global power. But it was the two world wars that changed everything. Factories that once made cars and farm tools now built planes, tanks, and ships. Men and women worked side by side to supply an entire world with the tools of victory. America's power no longer rested just in soldiers, it was in innovation, industry, and the unshakable will of its people. When World War II ended, the United States stood alone as a superpower. Its military was unmatched in technology, logistics, and global reach. Yet with great power came greater responsibility, and the Cold War loomed on the horizon, promising a new kind of battle, one not just for land, but for influence, ideology, and survival itself. When the guns of World War II fell silent, a new kind of war began, one fought in shadows, in science labs, and across the skies. The Cold War transformed the U.S. military from a force of millions of soldiers into a machine powered by technology, intelligence, and strategy. The enemy was no longer across a battlefield, but across an ocean, the Soviet Union, armed with nuclear power and an opposing vision for the world. To stay ahead, America built something extraordinary, a defense network that spanned the globe. The Pentagon became the brain of this system, coordinating land, sea, air, and, soon, space operations. The U.S. Air Force developed the B-52 bomber, capable of carrying nuclear weapons anywhere on Earth. Submarines silently patrolled the oceans, each one holding enough power to change the course of history. But it wasn't just hardware that made America strong. It was intelligence, gathering secrets, decoding messages, and predicting moves before they happened. Agencies like the CIA and NSA became crucial in preventing threats before they reached American soil. The space race added a new dimension to warfare, pushing technology faster than ever before. Satellites began to watch the skies, giving America eyes across the entire planet. By the 1980s, under leaders like Ronald Reagan, the U.S. doubled down on innovation. Stealth aircraft, precision missiles, and computerized warfare reshaped what military power meant. The strategy wasn't just to fight, it was to deter. The message to the world was clear: the U.S. didn't start wars, but it was always ready to finish them. When the Cold War ended, the United States stood unchallenged. The Soviet Union had collapsed, and the world looked to America not just as a superpower, but as a global protector. Yet, new challenges were waiting, ones that couldn't be met with old strategies. The 1990s brought the Gulf War, the first major test of modern American technology. The world watched in awe as precision-guided missiles hit targets with unmatched accuracy, and stealth jets slipped through radar systems like ghosts in the sky. The message was unmistakable: the U.S. military had entered a new era. Behind the scenes, America's military strength was no longer just about numbers. It was about coordination, satellites guiding troops, computers planning missions, and real-time communication linking every corner of the battlefield. The military had become a network, fast, flexible, and impossible to surprise. Every strike was planned with surgical precision, every move backed by overwhelming intelligence. Then came the attacks of September 11, 2001, a moment that changed everything. The enemy was no longer a rival nation, but an invisible network of extremists. America responded by reshaping its military once again. Drones, special forces, and advanced surveillance became the tools of a new kind of war, one that demanded speed, accuracy, and relentless pursuit. From the deserts of the Middle East to the mountains of Afghanistan, U.S. troops carried the same spirit that had defined generations before them: courage, discipline, and duty. Yet, as the wars dragged on, America began to look toward the future, knowing that the next threat might not come from a battlefield at all, but from cyberspace or artificial intelligence. Today, the U.S. military stands as the most advanced force ever assembled in human history, a blend of tradition, technology, and global presence. Its power stretches far beyond the battlefield. From outer space to the digital world, America's defense is built on constant innovation. Artificial intelligence now helps predict threats before they happen. Hypersonic missiles travel faster than sound, and drones can stay in the air for days, gathering data and striking with precision when needed. Yet, the secret of American strength isn't just its technology, it's its people. Every soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine carries a deep belief that service means something greater than themselves. They train harder, think smarter, and fight not for conquest, but for protection of their homeland, their allies, and the idea of freedom itself. That belief continues to fuel the military's unmatched morale and readiness. Allies around the world rely on the United States for stability. Through NATO, joint exercises, and humanitarian missions, the American military doesn't just defend, it leads. From disaster relief to peacekeeping, its reach shows that strength can be used not just to destroy, but to build and protect. As new challenges rise, cyber warfare, artificial intelligence, and competition from rival powers, the U.S. military evolves faster than ever. It learns, adapts, and prepares for a future no one can fully predict. But one thing remains certain: the same spirit that began with ordinary citizens defending their freedom still burns bright today. That is how the United States built, and continues to maintain, the strongest military the world has ever known.